Yo, casual wrestling fans. Welcome back to another episode of the Casual Wrestler Podcast. I am your host, the Casual One, Casual Steve. Join with me today, Mikey C. What's going on, brother?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, Mikey C, aka the Big C, aka Stephen A. Slams, aka the Paragon of Virtue. Casual wrestling fans, acknowledge me.
Where did the Paragon come from?
I'm just trying stuff out, Steve. I'm just throwing it out there. You know what I mean?
Something new gets added.
Right? As you heard, casual fans, the Mr. Illustrious TJW on the line. How we doing, sir?
What's good, people? Best in the business, the man, the myth, the legend in his own mind. What's up?
And last but not least, the Ring General, Josh B. What's going on, sir?
What's going on, guys? Not looking forward to this first pick, man. This can be a hard draft to have the first pick in.
Ain't it? This is pretty hard. TJ, what is our draft today?
Our draft is tag teams. First the 80's, second the 90's, then to 2000s, and then we do our current / wild card-ish round. Now, our draft would be broken up into 2 parts.
Awesome. People are already hitting us up right now because this draft is going to be pretty hot. 80's, 90's, 2000s, and current tag of all time. I'm excited about this one. Josh, you got the first pick on this, sir. Again, a lot of pressure on you, sir. Where are we going?
I'm going to go way back. I'll go 80s with the first pick, and I'm going to go the Road Warriors. I don't think there's clear-cut favorite. I definitely think, obviously, with me taking them, they're definitely going to be up there. They're one of the favorites to go number one. You know, it's hard to say comparing decades, but you got 20 title runs between them. I say besides them and maybe a pick coming up soon, they're one of the most well-traveled tag teams. I mean, they've competed for Crockett, Georgia Championship Wrestling, WCW, WWE. I mean, they've been everywhere. Japan, just to name a few. And everywhere they've been, they've just put on show after show after show. Everybody loves them. I don't know anybody who's ever said a bad word of them. So I'm going Road Warriors / Legion of Doom for my first pick.
I'm going to say that's an awesome pick, bro. Who didn't like the Road Warriors with the giant shoulder pads and giant spikes all over them? And just 2 massive guys coming down to the ring, throwing people all over the ring.
They were perfect for, especially when they were with the WWE, that 80's WWE style of wrestling. Like you said, the big shoulder pads, selling merch, kids just loving it because they both look like superheroes.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Mikey C.
I'll just say this. I think one other thing that you need to really think about when you think about the Road Warriors too is presentation. Now, you want to talk about, a little sizzle, pomp and circumstance. They were one of the first entities in professional wrestling to have entrance music, Iron Man by Black Sabbath. I believe it's Black Sabbath, right? Am I wrong? That is, I mean, if you really look, the smoke, the music, waiting for them, it's basically every entrance in modern professional wrestling. They were trailblazers. That presentation, like Josh said, it just doesn't get better than the Road Warriors. It really does. And there's like 2 or 3 teams that are worthy of the first pick, and this just happens to me, in my opinion, one of them.
Interesting team, interesting, no doubt. Also, noted as being one of the stiffest teams in the WWE at that point. Now, if you don't know what stiff means, it's terminology is for hard hitting. You know, they'd be the type to possibly end up injuring you, not intentionally. Well, some people maybe not intentionally, but yeah, good pick.
Well, Tej, there's stiff and then there's freaking careless. They really tiptoed that line They actually hopped over that line like hopscotch. They were not exactly paid to protect people. People were paid to feed them. And listen, they packed arenas as a tag team, and we all know how hard it is to do that. They were a special attraction. They may be, the first tag attraction of all time. But yeah, they were pretty careless in the ring. It's fine though. It is what it is.
Again, the gimmick lives on forever, still to this day. I'm gonna move on to the second pick of the first round. Obviously we're staying in the 80s for this first round. I'm gonna go with the Freebirds
You
again.
know, no, Steve. I think this. I think this is a great pick, and I think it's the only heel team you could really pick out of the 80s, in my opinion.
I gotta go here, man. I gotta go here. This is a tag team that you got everything from. When you talk about the some of the best heels to be heels at that time, you couldn't ask for anything better. One other small little fact that I think one of the biggest reasons why I really like the Freebirds is because of the Freebird rule, which again, for those who are not familiar with the Freebird rule, they were a team of three: Michael P.S. Hayes, Teddy Gordy, and Buddy Roberts. I mean, any of those three could tag team at any point in time, which I thought was a really unique idea that these guys put in place. Again, great tag team, great wrestling. Again, I would probably say when we talk about stiff wrestlers, we have some stiff guys in here, but these guys were suave, especially P.S. Hayes at the time, man. When you talk about like charismatic, suave, purely sexy, man, if it's the Freebirds, man, you got to go in the first round.
I mean, it's a good pick. It's one of those teams that transcends, and you'll see a lot of wrestlers today will talk about watching film on them and doing things that they did back in the day. I like the pick. I think a little early if you'd ask me, but I like the pick. They're definitely a team that's going to be drafted, whether it's in the 80s round or even as a wild card pick.
Absolutely.
You know me, I got nothing really to say on the Freebirds. Unfortunately, that's again one of those tag teams I did miss. Like that's a little before I was fully into wrestling, but I am well aware of the Freebird rule. I mean, especially as a team that could come up later on, the New Day also took advantage of the Freebird rule.
Absolutely.
Again, I'm gonna hop in here, Steve. I want to say this about the Freebirds again. Pro wrestling matters. You know that, right? But I also like a little sizzle on my steak. And you want to talk about a presentation. Now, does some of the presentation age a little poorly? Okay, fine, cool. I agree with you. But the robes, the rock and roll, Bad Street USA, like the common thread between these two teams that were taken, even though they couldn't be more different once the bell rang. First off, they did big business together too. But once the bell rang, it's different. But the same, it's a presentation. And I think we're going to hear a lot of that because unfortunately in this industry, sometimes when tag teams need to have an even better presentation to survive in a singles dominated industry. I love tag team wrestling. And a lot of people love tag team wrestling. And this is one of the teams that made people love tag team wrestling. Also, very good babyface team along with a heel team. I'm just going to throw that out. They were better heels, I think, but they could work both. And that's very important if you're talking about a team getting drafted this early in this draft. A lot of people say Terry Gordy's the best big man of all time. How about that?
Versatile. This is a versatile tag team in every sense of the manner. TJ, take us to pick number 3, sir.
Pick number 3 for the 80s. I'm going to go with the New Zealand Kiwis. Oh, wait. Better yet known in the WWF as the Bushwhackers. Pure entertainment, not much as far as in-ring technique, but gosh darn it, they were funny. Thoughts?
I have a couple. Would you like me to lead, Steve?
Please.
I just want to point this out since I'm going last and I get to pick the teams. I'm finishing the 80s portion of this. You left the Rockers, the Hart Foundation, the British Bulldogs, the Midnight Express, the Rock and Roll Express, Demolition, the Colossal Connection, the Powers of Pain, the Killer Bees, the fabulous freaking Rougeau brothers, the Dream Team, which is Greg the Hammer Valentine and Brutus the Barber Beefcake. You also left Doom, if you want to count the late 80s, Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson. The freaking Bushwhackers? The Powers of Pain. I'm sorry, the freaking Twin Towers. With all of that being said, the Bushwhackers were awesome. I'm just saying, I love the freaking Bushwhackers. What are you doing?
Hey, bro. Again, I like the Bushwhackers. I love the first off, shout out Mikey CEO. Great rundown list of the 80s tag teams. I think you got almost everybody in there.
And by the way, off the.
You see how angry you got this man?
Through his phone, he was so pissed off. Right. Damn, TJ, you must answer for this.
Look, man,
there was living up to his title.
There was some entertainment.
Please, acknowledge me, Steve.
Oh, he's back. He back. He found his speaker. He found his speaker now.
I slammed the phone down. I spiked it, actually. I was like Gronk after a touchdown. I just noticed I spiked my phone.
I think that's going to stay in. I don't think I'm editing that out. Look, man, I'm not gonna crap on your pick. I like the Bushwhackers. There's a laundry list, a scroll, a very long document of other wrestlers that probably other tag teams that probably could have won in this spot. But like I said, they were very entertaining, very disgusting, very entertaining in the ring.
I gotta say, I'm interested to see in Mikey's pick because there's some good tag teams out there. Some of these guys aren't getting drafted, at least not in this round.
Well, he's kind of named off a decent amount of them. So, Mikey, close us out, sir, round one.
I play cards, Steven. And when I play cards sometimes and when something unexpected happens, it's called being put on tilt. TJ has put me on tilt right now. I just don't know who to even pick right now. I'm just shocked. I'm in complete shock that a couple of these teams aren't getting drafted. So let me collect my thoughts for a minute and let's just, by the way, great presentation with the Sheep Herders, aka the Bushwhackers. I mean, iconic WWF tag team, 100%. I'm not trying to crap on them. I love the Bushwhackers. I've given a couple of battering rams in my day to my little sister with my older brother. I, of course, was the head. I was always Butch, not Luke. I'm just saying. And I may have licked her a couple of times too, actually. Shout out Angela for taking some Bushwhacker licks back in the day. But if I'm closing out the first round, I gotta go with the Rockers, and I'll explain to you why. I thought they'd be gone. I didn't even put them on my list because I just didn't think I'd get them. Because I just figured that somebody would take them, but I'm going to take the Rockers, and I'll explain to you why. For the same reason, I would take another team that I'm going to probably end up taking later. They are a team. Again, never held the tag team championship officially. They won one and it was taken away from them. But you want to talk about a trailblazing team? Okay, we've talked a couple of weeks ago about the cool factor. It was the 80s, and the Rockers aren't the Rockers haven't aged cool, but in the 80s they were super 80s cool. And quite frankly, if I could grab Shawn Michaels at the 4th pick and Marty Jannetty, who at the time of the 80s, everybody thought that Marty was going to have just as good of a career as Shawn, I'm going to take the Rockers. Tag team specialists, banging music, banging presentation, great matches. They are a They are a paradigm team, in my opinion, in the history of tag teams. Plus, there's other 80s teams on the board. I think I'm going to get another one in a little bit anyway. So I'm going to go with the Rockers.
I'm not going to totally argue with you on that pick. Because I thought I was not going to be able to. I thought they were going to get out this round. I thought someone was going to grab them. But 100%. Dude, the Rockers were probably one of my favorite tag teams. Back when I started watching wrestling, they were, for those who are the casual fan who are familiar with the Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty were pretty much the Matt and Jeff Hardy of the 80s at that time, if you want to make a real comparison.
I think actually, Steve, it's Nick and Matt Jackson. You got the wrong brothers.
You know
right
what?
idea.
You're right. I'll give you that. If you want to go AEW, absolutely. If you're going WWE, I'll go to Hardy's.
I just think the Young Bucks are the millennial rockers. That's all they really are.
DJ, I got to be honest. Like, when you pick the Bushwhackers, I'm used to those kinds of picks out of you. But Mikey, Rockers, oh my, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Oh man,
you're oh, come on,
5th, 6th in the WWE alone.
Josh, listen, I don't need them to win belts. Don't worry about championships.
Nothing to do with belts. It's absolutely not. You'll hear my pitch later on, because thanks to you guys, I already know who my pick is for the wild card round. But wow, just disappointed. Disappointed, Mikey. Disappointed in you.
I want to point out one thing. If I'm not mistaken, the way the snake works, am I going to get the first crack at wild card? No, I'm going last.
I got it.
I may have outpicked myself. I may have outpicked myself. I'm sorry. See, this is what happens when you let TJ go before me. I'm so fired up. I put myself on tilt. I'm just screaming into the void right now. Why am I even yelling?
I cannot wait to see what this wild card round brings us.
Freaking Bushwhackers.
You tried to rebound, man. The ring general is kind of blocking your shot, man. I'm thinking it's a pretty good pick, man. I'm okay with it.
Josh is letting his blind hatred for Shawn Michaels skew how great the Rockers were. That's all this is. This is HB Shizzle slander if I've ever heard it.
Maybe a little bit. I don't know. No. I just like I said, you just went named off a list. I would have taken several of those teams ahead of the Rockers.
Mike, take us to round 2, sir. Where are we going after the Rockers?
Well, listen, if you were going to pan the Rockers, which I think is insane, I don't think anybody could pan this team. I'm going the Steiner brothers.
Ooh, great pick.
Okay, thank you. At least I know what I'm talking about a little bit, I guess. Here's the thing. I'm back, baby. Scott and Rick, man, I tell you what, I remember being a little kid, and you don't realize it at the time that there's more than one wrestling company in the world, right? Because like all you know is WWE, and I'm talking like in like the late 80s, early 90s. You're like, wait a minute, there's wrestling on. I think it was channel 19 at the time, but I digress. Like the Steiner brothers instantly popped for me. You want to talk again? We're gonna beat the word presentation, or at least I am to death. But like their presentation was very bare bones. It was Letterman jackets. One guy wore wrestling earmuffs to the ring. Now I know the wrestling people are gonna like kill me in the DMs about what those are. It's called a headgear. They're earmuffs. Just freaking live with it, okay? And but like, dude, what athletes? The move set, the colors, the toughness. They looked at home in the ring with a big team like Doom, but they can go with the Hollywood Blondes a little bit. They were just a really solid team, obviously. The accolades, as the kids say now, check the receipts. Ton of freaking title reigns, including one of the most popular Japan acts at the time. Scott Steiner's career was derailed by 10 years because of how good the Steiner brothers were together. And that's the God's honest truth. Scott Steiner should have been a single star way before 1999. But That's how awesome the Steiner. Here, it's a known fact. Like Bruce Pritchard revealed that when they came to WWF, like Scott Steiner was penciled in to win the Royal Rumble for like a month. Think about that. Scott Steiner almost won the Royal Rumble. That's fact. Look it up. That's how good Scott Steiner was. And the fact that I think Rick is super underrated. Their promos were very 90s, 80s awesome. There's a lot of screaming and pointing and grunting, which I always enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they're not the Edge and Christian level of promo, but when that bell rang, man, here's the Frankensteiner. I'm just saying. Scott Steiner was awesome. Rick Steiner was awesome. The Steiners were awesome. They're the best tag team of the 90s. Don't at me.
I really can't. Again, I'm not going to totally argue with you. I like the Steiners. Again, Scott and Rick, are just awesome guys in the ring. But I don't know if they were the best ones in the 90s, though. I don't know. Josh, how do you feel about that, Ring General?
I think it's a good pick. I don't know if I'd have them one, but I wouldn't say that it's ridiculous to take them one. I think it's a good pick. I think it's a team that often is overlooked and doesn't get. I just think they get lost a lot, but we forget how good they were. I mean, both major companies they were in. Obviously back at early 90s, late 80s, a lot of these teams traveled a lot, so they were everywhere. But I mean, they were a great team, man. They were a great team. They were a great babyface team. Another one, maybe it was because of the presentation of the dog-faced gremlin, but like kids loved them. But at the same time in WCW had that more adult, something adults can share for as well. I love the pick.
Oh, the Steiners was a good team. Like I have those like little fond memories from childhood checking them out. I mean, come on, the creator of the Frankensteiner, who didn't enjoy hearing Rick Steiner bark at people? I'm always digging the entertainment value, and definitely again to see somebody the build of Scott Steiner jump up on someone's shoulders and flip back is for the people at home that don't know. I enjoy watching big guys manage to pull off moves that they shouldn't be able to pull off.
They did
extremely entertaining to me. But yeah, Steiner Brothers, good pick, without question.
I appreciate that, TJ. I appreciate that. I really do. I'm sorry I jumped down your throat. I like TJ. Yeah. I knew I liked you, kid.
See that?
Wait till my next pick.
I was just about to say that's a great segue because TJ has the next pick. So after the Bushwhackers, I have no idea where we're going now. Take it away, sir.
You don't know where we're going? Seriously?
I don't know. Where are we going?
Man, your ass better call somebody. The New Age Outlaws for the 90s.
Love it.
Come on, the Road Dogg Jesse James and the badass Billy Gunn. The New Age Outlaws. 2 members of what we become D-Generation X. But yeah, definitely Attitude Era. A lot of entertainment value. Who else worked the mic as far as tag teams go better than Road Dogg at that point? And honestly, I don't know what else to say about Mr. Ass. I mean, there's not a profanity thing that's legitimately his rank name, Mr. Ass. The fantasy move was the famed Ass, sir.
It actually signs it on his birth certificate. He actually has a couple sons that are the Ass Boys.
I like the pick. I definitely like the pick. I love the New Age Outlaws. And you're 100% right, TJ. I think mic-wise, it wasn't too many people that was going to be on a mic with Road Dogg and be able to eat him up. Maybe The Rock, maybe at that time. Outside of that, maybe Stone Cold. Wasn't that many people because I mean we got some great punchlines from him and some great bars from him. So he did a great job, a great presentation all the way around. Just a great tag team, a great heel tag team. Even better face when anti-face, I guess you can say, or anti-heroes, I guess you can say. But again, great pick, man.
Great? It's a great pick? Wait a minute. I hold on a second. Great? Now hold on. There's like
it's a step up from the Bushwhackers.
Listen,
this is a better pick than the Bushwhackers that we've gotten from the previous round. So where we give kudos, we should give more kudos so that we can have more of this in the future.
Here's the thing. I like the New Age Outlaws. They're a team that, despite obvious in-ring abilities to half the team anyway, because I actually think Billy Gunn's a really good worker. Road Dogg's a great storyteller. They are the do the most with least. They are like the kings of that. They really did a great job. Obviously, the Attitude Era was so interesting in WWE because the work rate was kind of suspect a little bit. Like, I don't find myself watching a ton of Attitude Era. I really don't, especially pre-Radicals. Post-Radicals, because you got Benoit, Guerrero, even when, Jericho was only there for a couple months before the Radicals got there. So I would almost say pre-Jericho, I don't watch a ton of Attitude Era. But they're an accomplished team. They're a Hall of Fame team. Obviously, 2 years ago, I think they got in. I think it's a little bit of a reach, but like you said, anything's better than the Bushwhackers who ruined my draft. But that's beside the point.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna argue right now that the New Age Outlaws, I would take them over the Steiners. Here's why. Entertainment wise, I think I got more from the New Age Outlaws than I did from the Steiners. It's kind of back to Josh's point from the first round. I felt like they were kind of a team that was good. They were good. It was just two other big guys in the ring just wrestling, right? I feel like he get anything else until they split. And I got Big Papa Pump. I think that's when I got something at that point. Other than that, man, tag team wise, I just thought it was just kind of like, just another tag team, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna go walk around the block. I'll be back in a minute. You
go right
can just
ahead.
Keep going.
While you're having that walk, I'm gonna take the third pick and go with the Dudley Boys. What can we say about the Dudley Boys besides being one of the most hardcore tag teams of the 90s of all time?
Possibly one of the most decorated tag teams.
Hands down, bro.
TNA, WWE, ECW. Wait, they also held the WCW championships too.
And the IWGP tag team championships also.
And the TNA tag team championships.
And correct.
And the Impact and the Impact Wrestling tag team championships. So, I just have to say, I'm going to be this guy. I got to point this out, Steve. I didn't pick the Dudleys because I think they're a 2000s tag team.
Dude.
That's why I didn't take them. I think they can be picked in either era. I think their best work, in my opinion, and again, this is why we draft, right? But I think that their best work was in the 2000s. I'm not saying here they're the best, and I'm going to be on record. I think they're the greatest tag team of all time. That's my opinion. Well, they were the greatest tag team of all time. But
I was going to argue that, but okay.
They were the greatest tag team of all time. But I'm not crapping on the pick. They're the best tag team of all time. I just think that I'm surprised that you took them in the 90s. Go ahead.
This is why I took them in the 90s, because these are the guys that changed other guys on how they wrestle. They had to. These are two massively big guys. They were not small guys by any shape of the imagination. Bubba Ray and Devon were some very big guys. They were able to these guys were jumping off the top ropes. These guys were doing all kinds of moves that you would expect to be done by cruiserweights. They changed the game for a lot of the tag team industry and made people have to, fight up to them. These again, these are guys also are great workers in the ring. You want to talk about great works? These guys were great works. They sold in the ring. But they also gave some real stiff shots back as well, which has been recorded by a lot of tag teams that they face.
Well, and Steve, first off, a couple things. Two things on the Dudleys. One, I think the greatest move to give somebody in the pool is a Dudley Death Drop. I'm just saying,
Hands
besides
down.
maybe the Doomsday Device, which me and my brother, shout out Joey C, Joe Yankee, we used to give people the Doomsday Device all the time in the pool. But the Dudley Death Drop is phenomenal pool wrestling move. That should be a freaking loose change draft. His best pool wrestling moves for the summertime. But I also want to point out riot starters. They would start riots with their promos. They didn't get signed to WWE because they didn't think that they control them. They're incredible on the mic. I think they're an underrated mic team. What do you guys think about that? I think they're
100%,
underrated.
man.
That
100%.
early
Bubba was a great work on the mic.
That's the true mark of a great tag team, right, Josh? A team that could actually survive bad creative and elevate.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree. Everybody gets bad creative when they first get into WWE. You look at all the greats, whether it's Austin, The Rock, Triple H, all of them had bad creative early on. But the cream rises to the top, as people like to say. Steve, I need you to do me a favor. Can you do me a favor?
Absolutely.
Can you please take back that pick? Because that was going to be my pick. I think you got the best 90s tag team. I think you probably got, if not definitely one of the top 3 tag teams of all time with that pick. Listen, a lot of these teams, right, they go in and out of different decades. But I actually like them in the 90s, and I was going to take them in the 90s for the simple fact that as long as their career has been, and it spans 3 decades because it goes into the 2010s.
Yep.
I mean, I still associate them most with ECW.
Agreed.
And the reason, as was just pointed out by Mikey, that I think they are the best is they just got the fans to act a certain way as a heel tag team. They started riots, like Mikey said. I think it's a great pick, man. I think it's a great pick. I mean, they're just such a dynamic tag team. Like I said, whether it's heels and ECW, one of the 3 teams in the most famous ladder matches of all time.
Yep.
They're just the best, man. And talk about 3D, the Dudley Death Drop. I'd argue that might be the greatest finisher, singles or tag team of all time.
I'm not gonna argue with you on that because I think it is. If you're talking tag team moves, that's the only tag team move, and we played SmackDown numerous times, SmackDown versus Raw. I can tell you right now, when we were tag teaming, me and TJ, it was always the Dudley Death Drop as the finisher every single time.
It's so good the Usos have stolen it.
Correct.
The Usos just straight stole it. Like how do you do that? You just stole it.
The tribal chief. His will be done.
I guess. But since the thievery is done, I got the Dudley Boys, arguably the best tag team of all time. Josh, where are we going now to close out round 2?
Wow, a little on tilt because I thought the Dudleys would make it to me. I was counting on you guys considering the 2000s tag team. So a little on tilt here, but I think I'm going to go Harlem Heat. Great heel tag team. They just, again, they pissed people off as a heel tag team. Obviously, kind of did the loop in the South where a black tag team in the South, let's face it, that's not going over well. They're definitely not going to be baby faces. Mm-hmm. But once they got to WCW, they fit in perfectly there. Kind of ran that tag team division for a while, had some great teams to go against. I like Harlem Heat. I'm taking them as my last pick for this round.
Oh, man. With the five-time WCW champion.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta love the pick.
They were my backup pick, Josh. Because again, I was gonna go again. The Dudleys. I guess everybody's reading my mind today because I had the Dudleys all ready to go for the 2000s, but Harlem Heat, man, WCW's tag division was run by two teams in the 90s. Three if you count the Hollywood Blondes, but their run was not long enough. It was the Steiners and it was Harlem Heat. And great feud, by the way, between the two teams and maybe the Outsiders at the back end. But to me, Booker T, Stevie Ray, great talkers, great 90s talkers, I should say. Great presentation. When they turned babyface, I thought that was peak Harlem Heat when they were faces. I thought that first off, I got excited to see them. And Sherry to me turning face, think about that. She was like the devil growing up. She was evil. She wanted to kill Hulk Hogan.
She got Harlem Heat over.
Hey, Booker T had an issue with Hogan too. Let's not forget that.
It's very true. A very big issue.
No one's nobody's gonna cancel me, Jack.
We gotta go to Patreon if we want to talk about that a little bit. I got some choice words for that. But anyway, that will close us out for our round 2 for our greatest 80s and 90s tag teams. Join us for our next pod when we talk about the 2000 and current tag teams, and then we may throw in a honorable mention or two in there. Please like and subscribe and follow us if you want to hear more from the Casual Wrestler team. Till then, catch us in the next one.
Damn bushwhackers.